Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Nze omubejja luwedde Lilian mbaniriza maka gaffe amajja era nga wano tugenda okuba nga tukolera programu yaffe emanyiddwa nga The Voltage gaba masanyalaze gennyini era nga twogera ku bintu ebyenjawulo omwo mwe muli ebigenda mu maaso mu ggwanga, ensonga z'ebyobufuzi n'obukulembeze bw'eggwanga Uganda, twogera ku nsonga ez'abavubuka, eddembe ly'obuntu awamu n'ebyenkulaakulana. Togisubwa buli lunaku olwokutaano eba ssaawa emu ey'akawungeezi paka ssaawa 3 ez'ekiro.
The Diaspora Link buli lwakuna sawa 11 paka sawa 1 ey'olweggulo ye program gye tukuleetedde wano ku Alternative Digitalk Uganda. Tugenda batutunulira embeera z'Abannayuganda, baganda baffe, bannyinaffe zibawangaaliramu mu mawanga ag'ebunaayira. Bangi banyigirizibwa, bangi bakosebwa, bangi bayisiddwamu amaaso. Naye tugenda batutunulira engeri gye tusobola okulongosaamu embeera zaabwe. Tugenda kuba tulaba abo abakwatibwako abateekeddwa okuba nga balongoosa embeera zino eno. Tosubwa buli lwakuna n'omuweerezaawo Nixon Segawa.
Hello everyone, my name is Abdulatif and I welcome you to the Hotline Show here at the Alternative Digitalk as we discuss issues of national importance. Join us every Monday 7 to 9 p.m. and see who will be occupying these seats here with us. Keep it Digitalk, real issues, real talk.
How are you beautiful Ugandans? It's your girl Deterred. Welcome to the fancy floor. Who doesn't see my hair, guys? I am super glamorous. Remember, this is the only show where we're going to be talking about fashion.
Please, where are you think? Teaching.
What has been confusing you about fashion? Sorry, you said I should not smile. For all the information about fashion, maintenance of body shape.
I can wear bling bling when I'm going out. So you can wear bling bling going out or any occasion.
We shall be doing all this in the fancy floor. Remember, it airs every Thursday right from 8:30 to 9 with your girl Teddy Tenjo. It is the fancy floor.
This weekend.
Omusajja bamuyitanga Buruchaga oba yafa nuza yafa twamuwona yali anzisi nakuba nga guwedde nakuba jamani golubechwa bana bali mu room tebalinda ne bankwata bankanyuga ebweru from my room nga ndi kumwalire gwa kusatu mu CCE room number 99.
This weekend.
For more than 50 years, Uganda's political question remains unanswered due to political liars and their accomplices, and the Komanyoko politics as Norman writes. Upon reading Liars and Accomplices, Mukesha Muntu had this to say: Uganda's political leaders are motivated more by their self-aggrandizement than service to the people. There are those in power without strong institutional checks that will behave like animals in the jungle. In his foreword to the Komanyoko politics and sowing the mustard seed, retired Justice Professor Kanye Hamba says, "I have had the privilege to read through Norman's manuscript. It is a frank and true exposition of the truth. Norman's courage couldn't be left unmentioned. As Honorable Betty Vigombe states, I am in full admiration of your courage and boldness." Copies of these books are readily available for your purchase in all bookstores. Do not miss the launch on 30th March 2022, Imperial Royal Hotel at 2 p.m. with retired Justice Professor Kanye Hamba as guest of honor and Honorable Betty Vigombe as guest speaker, among others. For further information, please contact the numbers below.
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
A very, very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you today to the edition of the Mighty Drive. My name is Roger Sturiawe. Today is the 10th day of March. The year is 2022. Now, the year is fast moving. We have reached the quarter of that year. I hope that whatever we intend to accomplish in this year is at least quarterly accomplished. But I welcome you to this Mighty Drive, and I'm going to be going through a little bit of the updates of all the news that happen in and around us. Those where you're not, of course, that is our job, that we have to be there to source for the information that you rightfully deserve and to get in right time. My name is Rogers again, and I will begin with the parish development model that was rolled out a couple of weeks ago by the president, the fountain of honor of this country, Mr. Yoweri Kaguta Museveni Tibuhaburwa, obviously with the intention to move Ugandans out of poverty. Now, the Buganda Member of Parliament contempt the parish development model on grounds of unfairness, saying that the people who are staying in the Buganda region, particularly in Central, are not fairly favored because the focus of the whole parish development model is on agriculture. So for the people who are staying in, for example, urban areas, are not going to be favored in the same way as someone who is staying in the countryside. Now, the thing is, parish development model is targeting especially the people who are owning lands, those who have some means of, if you're going to do agriculture, you want to do some bit of farming, or whether it's animals or for the digging and all that. They said they give the money and then you can find ways of utilizing it using the land. Now, they are saying that the people in central Uganda, especially in Uganda region, are not favored in that kind of manner because the people in urban centers do not have the land, so it's not fair. And so they are saying that the government should be revising their approach and saying that they should have different approaches. I was saying the same yesterday, saying that it doesn't necessarily have to be an issue of Uganda. Even the people who are staying, let's say in Nugulu town, who do not own lands in the outskirts or in the countrysides, they may not be favored in the same way. Because if you're saying that you need a circle and the circle is supposed to be doing anything agriculture, it so much means that people who do not have means to access the resources that enable the agricultural kind of practices are going to be left out. So the government, they ask, and I was thinking the same, that they would have different approaches for the people who are living in urban centers. At least if they say that you're doing a particular kind of business. If they're saying that people who are in the businesses of supplying, for example, food and something like that, small, of course, on a small scale, they can provide, they say maybe you make a group, a kind of a circle, and then they provide you resources, and then you can try to get the capital to improve your businesses, to make it lively and sustainable. Now, they are saying the same, saying that those people who do not own land, who do not own the means of agriculture, are not going to be appropriately favored by this parish development model. And so I hope that the government is also looking into that fact, because it's unfair, because we don't want an economic imbalance where a particular region is ahead of the others. And obviously, in the long run, the other one will be pulled down even if it will have developed, because the others surrounding them are staying behind. So the Buganda MPs are also saying the same, and they're saying that the government needs to revise the approach of the parish development model to make sure that it's all-encompassing and that all the people receive the same services and they're equally favored in the economic development plans. Now, if I may move to another update, in last year, the Minister Jim Muhwezi announced the fact that they will be rolling out the car tracking devices to make sure that every car, every motorist have a kind of a device in the digitalized number plates. I think that as you get out, as you buy a car or as you buy a bike, or even if you still own one, you're going to have to be required to get a tracker into each one of those. Now, it means that every car and every motorcycle will be tracked wherever it is. It means it is in the system, and we can know, the authorities at least can know where you are at a particular time. Now, this came because of what had happened over the insecurities that had been happening in and around the country. You saw the border borders, those hit and run border borders, and the cars some of the times that had been terrorizing people, and that's where all that began. And the president had pronounced the same in 2018 when he was saying that the government is going to roll out a system where every motorist and every car is supposed to be having a tracking device to make sure that if there is a hit and run, at least there is a hint, there is where to begin. The president himself mentioned that they waste a lot of time trying to do investigations to look for ghost cars or ghost motorcycles that you have no way of tracking. So they are saying that that was intended to make sure that they save the time for investigation and obviously resources along with it, and two, to make sure that justice is served in case someone is robbed, so that even some people actually lost their lives. So to make sure that if someone loses their life, at least there is a way that the perpetrators are tracked down and can be arrested and held to account. Now the thing is, in that whole system of tracking devices, you as an individual is supposed to pay the fees, because when it was rolled out, the minister, Jim Muhwezi, a minister of security, was asked if the government has a budget for that kind of operation to make sure that the project is operational. He said that the government does not need a budget, and the people, if you own a car, you're going to have to facilitate the amount, the fees, to make sure that a tracking device is put in your car. That means basically we are going to buy our own trackers. If you own a motorcycle, you make sure that you have a tracker, but you have to pay to make sure that you have a tracker. But I think that's a fair idea, because at the end of the day, it is our lives. As much as the government also has to work for us, we are also a part of the government. So I think that it's a fair ground for the government to waste a lot of money doing the administrative work, doing the work of installing those devices. We as the people, if it's, for example, 50,000 is much less than your life. So because anytime a robber can go, no one is immune, can run into you, and they can probably take your life along as they try to, in the process of trying to rob you. So I think it's fair that even if we have to cater for the money that's supposed to do the tracking, the installation of the tracking devices in those cars, I think it's only fair that we comply as far as that is concerned. Moving on, speaking of digitalization, the government is rolling out the Uganda National Land Information Portal. Now, that Land Information Portal means that an individual can check their land issues. If you have a land, you can put in those details of your land and find out in the national portal if your land is actually yours or it's in the names of another person. Now, this was said, especially was pronounced yesterday by the Minister of Land and Urban Development, Momchara Judith Nabakova, saying that the whole idea is that there are officials who have always been said to connive with the land evictors and land grabbers to take away the land of the people. And sometimes you go and you want to understand the information regarding your land, and someone is tossing you around, they ask you to pay a particular amount of money, and you find so corruption and embezzlement has been in the center of the whole land registration and land checking the information itself. And so she quoted the constitutional mandate that the people have a right to information as under Article 41. And so she says that in that regard, that information portal is going to be availed very soon. Someone is just only required to pay 10,000 every time you want to check now. That's subject to debate, but I also think that if it secures your land, the 10,000 shouldn't be an issue. Even if you wanted to check every day, you'll have to be paying 10,000 every single time you're going to have to check. So that is geared towards making sure that the people are not being corrupted, the people are not being tossed around. There is no embezzlement, to make sure that the service and information availability is transparent, and so that the people do not have to be in that process of going around with those officials in the process of trying to understand the information and the status of their land in the registry. To move on, yesterday, Operation Shuja, now you understand that Operation 1 that is in apprehending the ADF in the DRC Congo. Of course, some people that have said that it's an invasion of Congo itself, but that operation that was commenced last year is said yesterday to have killed over 16 members of the ADF and captured 3 combatants. Now, the combatants are those armed groups. A combatant is someone who is probably fighting against you, but is armed. Now, those people, apparently 3 of them were captured yesterday, and over 16 are killed in the whole process of trying to get to those individuals. Now, it is also said that over 8 children were saved from the enemy territories of those ADF fellows. And so, of course, the people of Congo are all applauding UPDF for doing this kind of work. It is also said that the ADF has been terrorizing the people, the natives of that particular area, and obviously recruiting young children into their own operations. And so any idea and approach and process of making sure that justice is served, of making sure that their children are not recruited in the army as they are young, and also to make sure that the people's livelihoods and are safe, the people are safe themselves in their areas, is something to be applauded. So the people of the Wananchi, the people of DRC in those enemy territories that the ADF was occupying because they haven't taken them out entirely, are saying that the UPDF is doing a great job, and as such, that is what was happening yesterday as far as the UPDF is concerned. Now, in another update, there's the Ukraine-Russia issue that has been going around since about 2 weeks ago that began. I think 2 weeks, yes, or 2.5 or thereabout. You know there have been a crisis, the Russian invasion of the Ukraine and the whole process. Now, there was talks that at least there should be some corridors that are left for humanitarian purposes, that if there are bombings in cities and in different cities and areas, the people have some safe haven. That if, for example, there are bombings in Kampala, an area, let's say in Munyonyo or in Muyenga or somewhere in Katwe, is a safe haven, that particular area is not bombed. So that means if they are bombing around Kampala, anyone, those human beings, those who are not in the military, can move to that area in that corridor and make sure they are safe. So there was talks, and those corridors, obviously, sometimes they have been saying that sometimes they don't respect that idea, but other times there has been some kind of safe havens, those safe corridors. Now, yesterday, there was some agreed upon ceasefire to make sure that there is some level of evacuation for the people to leave the Ukraine, those battled cities, those that are being burnt into ashes, that they are given some safe space to travel and move out to evacuate the Ukraine to the neighboring countries. Of course, majorly they have been to Poland and Romania and the other neighboring countries really, and the UK and all those other European countries. Now, yesterday, that was happening, and obviously we want to applaud also Russia to recognize the fact that the lives of the people are so important, at least more than the sovereignty of the state. The state can always fight if it has to, but then the people themselves don't have to be collateral damage in the whole selfish interests of each of those states. According to the UNHCR, about 1.3 million people have evacuated Ukraine since the beginning of the invasion. Now, for that whole period, a number of people obviously have lost their lives. Yesterday, as of yesterday, about over 400 people are said to have lost their lives in the whole process, and then a number more injured in the process. But also, if there are efforts that there is some level of ceasefire to make sure that people's evacuation is facilitated and people can safely move out of the country, it is an idea that everyone should be welcoming with open arms. To leave that part of the world, coming back to Uganda itself, a gentleman yesterday who is now the former executive director of the Mulago Referral Hospital, Mr. Banjirana Bateirana, is handed over office to his deputy, Omuchara Rosemary, Dr. Rosemary. Now, the gentleman, as he left, he said that he, as an individual, a lot was accomplished in the institution of Mulago. That in the whole process of the 11 years he was the executive director of the hospital, they have procured the oxygen plant, because prior, I think that was in 2011 or 2012, prior to that, they were used to get to import from Kenya and depend, I think, on some industrial kind of oxygen, something like that. So he said that in his tenure, at least he was able to make sure that he secured that. And he mentioned a number of other accomplishments, which also include building quarters of the workers of the referral hospital. And so he said in his period, as much as he's being alleged to have misappropriated over 28 billion Uganda shillings, he was able to at least accomplish something. And he also mentioned the fact that the reason why Mulago is also facing a number of other issues is because the budget is very small, that half of the budget that is allocated to Mulago Referral Hospital goes to the salaries of the staff of Mulago. And obviously that is an issue that is a fact, because even in almost every other institution, almost half, or at least close to half, of the budget that is usually allocated to that institution usually goes to the administration. Administration costs are so high in this country. Every time there's a project, you realize that there's a very big staff that needs to do the project, and that big staff obviously is going to take almost half of the project money. Now that usually means that the whole achievement of making sure that the project is actually done and or completed is not going to be realized, because the monies that should have completed that is going to also be divided between the project itself and the people who are supposed to carry out the implementation of the project. So he mentioned the same problem and said that if Mulago is going to be better, it should be that the budget should be sufficient enough for the hospital itself alone and the facilities, to make sure that that is there, and also to make sure that there's enough money for the staff, to make sure that the budget is not cut between the people, the salaries of the people, and the hospital itself. It should be that the priority of the lives of the people is the first priority. Now, to move on, NSSF is paying out monies to the beneficiaries. There's only one requirement, that one must have a national ID and a bank account, and obviously you must have had benefits of more than 3 million Uganda shillings. There has been that issue going around the NSSF. Of course, you remember the scandal in the lockdown, that the people who have been saving are not allowed to get their money because they have to attain a certain age. Now, that particular requirement was probably revised, and so someone can access their money if they have the requirements that the NSSF is currently required to have for you to get one. And also, one last is that the elderly people have not been receiving their money. Now, the government said that elders, there's obviously a threshold, an age that someone must have to make sure that they qualify for these monies. Now, they are saying those people, the elderly, have not been receiving their money for over 8 months, not 8 years, sorry, have not been receiving their monies for over 8 months. And so some of them have been, they are not at good terms. They have been saying that the government is neglecting them. They are not, thinking about them anymore. And obviously that brings out the question of consideration, especially in issues of gender, because you see, now they are saying that the attention is given to women and youth and children, now the elderly, who at least at that age are not able to do anything by themselves. That is the time that the government should actually be looking at them. So they were saying that, you see, 20,000 is just some small amount for someone. So at least the least they can do is to make sure that it actually comes in time. Now, the issue of being a small money is a whole discussion, because if a country has, for example, 5 million elderly, 20,000 times 5 million is a lot of money. And obviously it doesn't just come out of the blue. But it's also fair that if the government made a pledge to make sure they are giving them that, at least that little, it should be coming through with that particular promise. Now, that is what I have for you today in the edition of the Global Mighty Global News Updates. My name is Roger Surya. We are going to come after this break. We are going to come in the edition. I'm going to be with Lilian Lowe de Omumbeja, and a gentleman who is an NRM youth leader. He's also a student leader, an NRM chapter student leader in the Kampala International University. He's going to be telling us about the political status in the institution, the role of the political parties in those tertiary institutions. You see, back in the day, most of the people who were actually student leaders turned out to be serious politicians, who later became national politicians. Now, in this era and particular time, do we still look at that? Do those political parties really play a serious role in institutional politics? Is that an issue? And obviously, as someone who's also going to a leader, an NRM youth leader, we are also going to be looking at the approach of the party, being the ruling party, towards making addressing the problem of unemployment. And we are going to be talking about a number of issues relating young people generally. So I'm going to go in for a short commercial break. When we come from that, we are going to begin with the Mighty Drive, and we're going to have a host here. Good morning.
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
How you beautiful Ugandans, it's your girl Digitalk. Welcome to the fancy flow. Who doesn't see my hair, guys? I am super glamorous. Remember, this is the only show where we're going to be talking about fashion.
Please, where are you think? Teaching.
What has been confusing you about fashion? Sorry, you said I should not smile. For all the information about fashion, maintenance of body shape,
I can wear bling bling when I'm going out. So you can wear bling bling going out or any occasion.
we shall be doing all this in the fancy floor. Remember, it airs every Thursday right from 8:30 to 9 with your girl Digitalk. It is the fancy floor.
This weekend,
omusajja bamuyitanga Buruchaga oba yafa ndoza yafa twamuwona yali anzisi nakuba nga guwedde nakuba jamani golubechwa bana bali mu room tebalinda ne bankwata bankanyuga ebweru from my room nga ndi kumwalire gwa kusatu mu CCE room number 99.
This weekend,
if you're a Christian and our nation's politics and governance do not concern you, you are doing a disservice to the God you believe in. The Bible in Ephesians chapter 1 verse 23 says, the church you see is not peripheral to the world is peripheral to the church. Which means the church is at the center of everything happening within the world, including, if not especially, how God's people are governed. Why then separate church from politics? Church and politics with your host Sylvain Gumisiuza every Sunday 2 to 3 p.m. live on Alternative Uganda Facebook page.
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Amacha amalungi go na program The Mighty Drive nze omumbeja luwedde Lilian mu studios ndimu n'omwami Rogers tuli ahabwe tugenda kuba tutambuza sheno paka sawa 3 ate ezamacha golunako olwaleero nga bwetulinda omugenyi waffe omwami Tumuramye Bosco aberenga ate atwegattako show esobola okubanga ate etambulira ddala bulungi mbabuzaako era nga mbaniriza ku program The Mighty Drive gwe nawe natulaba yonna gy'osinzidde okubanga otulaba okola mulimu gw'amaanyi nnyo era kyokola kya ttendo tusiima munnange tusiima bwongerwa olunaku olwaleero lunaku lwakuna munnange ate tugenda maaso n'okubanga tuwaweereza nga bwe twasuubiza okubanga ate tukikola tuli live ku the Alternative Uganda Facebook page kwosobola okubanga ate otufunira gwe munnange ali eyo atunoonya oba oli bizi otunoonyeza ku TV ate tuliiko munnange tulibeera live ku the Alternative Uganda Facebook page osobola okubanga ate otufunira ku YouTube kwe tuli nnyo tuli the Alternative Uganda genda subscribing ku YouTube channel yaffe osobola okulaba programs zonna ze wa missing gy'otasobola kumalayo olwa network wali ate osobola okubanga zonna ozootabulira oba oziraba bulungi munnange ensonga nebeera nga etambula bulungi nnyo kwetuli nnyo ku mikutu emirala ku Twitter kwetuli nnyo ku Instagram ate nga ne ku TikTok kwetuli osobola okubanga otufuna bulungi nnyo tuli the Alternative Uganda tetulina linnya ddala ate nga wuwe nnyini bw'oba otuuseewo ekitegeeza oba otuukire ddala ku nsonga tulina programs nyingi zotasaanidde kubeera nga obuusa amaaso tulina Mighty Drive tulina program Diaspora Link, Hotline, eriiso ly'omukulu n'endala nnyingi nnyo, Snaptalk, zino zonna za kusomesa, kubuulirira na kulaba ng'ate tutereeza eggwanga lyaffe. Mu ngalo zange ekutte obutabo bubiri. Obutabo buno akamu kayitibwa Liars and Accomplices, ate ng'akokubiri kayitibwa The Komanyoko Politics and Sowing the Mustard Seed. Obutabo buno bwawandiikibwa omwami tumuhimbise Norman era nga buli katabo ka mitwalo 5. Bulimu information nno nnyingi nnyo gye weetaaga okuba nga naawe weesomerako omanye ebyobufuzi bya Uganda biyimiridde bitya, biki ebigenda mu maaso. Titles zino omanye lwaki baabutuma amannya gano. Buli katabo kagula emitwalo 5 gyokka. Osobola okuba nga ate otukubirako ku nnamba z'essimu zino wammanga 0783047785 0783047785 oba 0701800212 0701800212. Osobola okuba nga ate weefunira kopi munnange. Kopi eno gy'onaaba ofunye ejja kuba nga ticket ekutwala ku launch yaabwo ng'ennaku z'omwezi 3 ku Imperial Royal Hotel. Munnange abakulu gye bali nnyo, ensonga bagenda kuba boogera ku butabo buno. Kuno nno kuliko Professor Pierre Olumumba kuva mu ggwanga erya Kenya. Tulina retired justice Professor George Wilson Kanyihamba, ono nno ye mugenyi omukulu ku mukolo guno. Tulina Honorable Betty Bigombe n'abalala bangi nnyo. Panel abantu bangi. Naye kyansinze okunsanyusa mu byonna kwe kuba nti kuliko n'omuvubuka omukyala Namirembe Angela, kuliko Honorable Bernard Mona, Honorable Norbert Mao, Honorable Winnie Kiza n'abalala bangi nnyo botasaanidde okuba nga ate osubwa ku launch eno. Naye kansooka ebuuze ku mukulu Rogers tuwadde updates. Rogers, good morning.
Very good morning.
Wasuze otya? Kanjogere mu Luganda saa nnyo kutandika.
I had a very good name. Don't want to send us to now you can say it in Uganda, you can say it in English.
So nenga wasuze bulungi. Okay.
Good morning again. Once again, my name is Rogers, and I'm here with Lillian to make sure that, one, to inform you of what is going around you. Ngago obera busy, okay, dakumacha in office, you have an office to run, you have errands to run. My role and Lillian's is so that umanya biche byabaddeyo gwe jotabadde oba nga tonafuna budde butula ku TV olabe mawulire okolotya fatuka kutusaako yonna gyoli. You just need a phone.
Otambula mu motoka yonge abigenda maaso.
Ng'ebigenda maaso bifuna, exactly. Yeah. You just need a phone. There's open look search for the Alternative Uganda. Ojja kuba tusangako live nga tukuwa amawulire nga gabadde oba nga bwegagenda maaso mu ggwanga. Kati olwaleero oyogedde ku book launch. I wanted to also talk just a little bit about that. Titles, but one is called The Komanyoko Politics. The other is Liars and Accomplices. Now, as titles are aside, the book launch is meant to be, there are a number of people, renowned people are going to be a part of it. Yeah. And these are people who have been at the center of national politics, and not just national, because we have people like Lumumba, who's not Ugandan, who is Kenyan, but is also a non-Pan-Africanist. Yeah. So it means that the issues that are going to be happening and being discussed on that day are issues that are not just Ugandan, but are central to the African political spectrum. So you need to make sure that you secure yourself a copy of that book, because it's the only ticket that's going to take you to enter you in that dialogue. The discussion will be around the role of literature in governance, and so it is a discussion you don't really want to miss. So make sure that you secure your copy. In numbers is already and Zaba Somed 0783047785, 0701800212. Yeah. Make sure that you get yourself a copy, or you can go to the Alternative itself. Go to the inbox. You just leave a comment, tell someone, my name is this and this, and this is my number. I would love to get a copy of those. And so you'll have yourself a copy to make sure that on that day, you are set to make sure that you're part of the discussion. Lydian, tubaddeko mu updates, and one of the issues that were at the center, well, at least for me, was that the car tracking is going to come. Ekintu ekyo kyayogerwako last year. Ne wajjawo issues ey'okubanga the company
gye bawatenda okukola obuuma buno
is insolvent and bankrupt, which we have not received any kind of change. Tebanatugambako nti byakyuse.
obate tunaba nakumanya bali beeterizo boli abayinza okuba basituka mu bbanga linetono.
Simanyi kati fe abantu, where do we begin? Where do you think we are going to begin? Because they also said we need to pay. We have to foot our own bills of making sure that those devices are planted in our cars. But we also don't know which company exactly makes those.
Omanya ebintu bya Uganda oluusi bikubuzaabuza totobuuza bw'oba onoolya enkoko tobuuza nti ani yagifumbye oba eridde bikinga tennaba kutuuka ku sowaani nga bwe bagikuleetedde olya buli teweebuuza tobuuza ate kati oba onoobuuza ki era ne bw'onaabuuza like banaasobola okukubwa details nti kino kye kigenda mu maaso oba kino kye kiriwo ne bwe banaaba bikuwadde bikakasiddwa nti kino bino byebiriwo because bayinza obituwa oba oliawo okuba nti kampani eno esigaza tenda gye baagiwa n'okuba nti bajja fulumya obuuma buli muntu yeetaaga okuba n'akuuma oba mu mmotoka ye naye ng'ate tebatubuulidde ddala kituufu ki ekigenda mu maaso era neewunya n'okwewunya nti that information yasobola okujja mu public abantu ne bamanya nti okay kampani eno erinamu ebitulituli ebyetaaga okuba nga ate bikola ki
batugamba era abantu bwe bakola ka research ne basanga
anti neewunya okuba nti information eno like yafuuka public okiwulidde naye ate minisita najja natulaga nagiwolereza natulaga nti kampani eno munnange olaba bino bwe biti ne bwe biti biriwo kale tulabika oba tetwamanya bulungi
naye oba otya government tender to a company that is insolvent. How do you not make research about something that is national?
Ekyo ebyemu ku bibuuzo bannayuganda oba oliawo bye beebuuza nga beebuuza nti abakulu bano bwe babeera mu offices kampuni ne zijja okubiidinga walina okubaawo akakiiko akanoonyereza ku kampuni zino ddala kituufu kampuni eno ezze okusaba oba okubiidinga okiwulidde eyina ebiwandiiko ebyetaagisa bwe tukolamu ka background check oba ne tuginoonyerezaako ebintu ebitonotono ku contracts zesembyeyo okukwata zibadde zitya zibadde za kampani ki oba zibadde mu mawanga ki ebyo nabyo biba byetaagisa okuba nga bikola ki bikolebwa naye wano oli bwajja n'abiidinga at times kigambibwa kankiteeke mu kigambibwa nti abamu bateekamu n'akasente kulaba nti afuna contract eno yes nti oli ateekamu akasente nago wayi wano osobola okuyitawo n'afuna akasente ke n'akateekamu oba n'abaako ne waakeewola n'amanya nti guno omulimu bwe ngukwata guyinza okuddaabulula ki kampani yange naye weetaagisawo akakiiko akaba kalina okunoonyereza okutuwa that information ne tumanya nti kampuni yetutaddemu obwesiga okukola bweti ne bweti eyimiridde bweti oba kino ki
those companies agura akakiiko konna akanoonyereza?
I really don't know.
Because I don't understand.
Because ayinza okufunamu omuntu omu gwamanyi nti ono wankizo yasalawo ebyenkomeredde oba yayinza otuuka eri n'atuwoleeza laga akampuni eno eyimiridde bweti ne bweti okiwulidde
n'agiweerayo kataasi naye ate kati now that goes back to the institutions themselves. Do we have independent institutions, independent from the people who head them? Ngabo gamba nti, for example, we have the arm of government, Twina Chief Justice as the head of that. Is the Chief Justice with the mandate, unquestionable mandate that gamba nti kino kye kino, no one says anything? Or do we have an institution that says, even if you are a Chief Justice, I am a principal judge, I have a say in whatever the decision is going to be? So bwe babanga waliwo committee okuvetinga those bidders to make sure that one, because they have to provide their bank statements, they have to provide their
balina ebiwandiiko bingi nnyo bye balina okuleeta empapula eziboogerako
track record. There is technically even a law mu parliament bidding nga olina kubanga there is just a procedure you have to follow to make sure that you get a secure government bid. So I don't understand how does an insolvent company pass to getting a government kind of business without being even existing, because if it's insolvent and bankrupt, it means it's technically not working anymore. So how do we even get to that?
Ebya Uganda oluusi bikwewuunyisa nti abantu bali mu ministries naye omwami omwatiro gabayinza okuba tebatuulayo nga tebamanyi na bigenda mu maaso lya headinga ministry naye nga nekigenda mu maaso ku ground takimanyi ye just ajja kubawa information kino kyekiriwo kino kyekisaliddwawo naye nga tebakula okunoonyereza kulaga nti oba oliawo kye baasazeewo oba kye baayogedde ku nsonga ndala nnyo oba si kyekiriwo oba si kyekigenda mu maaso. So ministry abantu bano abagenda mu ministries oba abaweebwa obuyinza ku bifo ebyenjawulo balina okumanya omulimu gwabwe okiwulidde okumanya nti ndi mu ministry eno naye siriimu lwakuba nti oba nze mbadde nsika because waliwo abantu abasobola okukola ebintu ng'ebyo okukola emirimu ng'egyo naye oli atula mu ministry agala buyinza bwe babumpadde nze mbuyina nze nsalawo ki ekikolebwa naye nga nekyasazeewo tamanyi kikigenda mu maaso nzijukira minisita Matiya Kasaija bwamutuzaako mu kakiiko akamu ku nsonga z'ekisaawe ky'ennyonyi ne looni gye baafuna kuva mu banka emu China nga kale tetwamanya bulungi nnyo nti mu mpapula z'abantu mwalimu twali twetaaga okuba nga tusoma bulungi okumanya bwayiro obulimu kino kyogera ki ye bwe tulema okusasula ssente ki ekibaawo okiraba so you really wonder oba bano abantu basooka okukola okwetegereza oba okunoonyereza okumala nga tebannaba kusalawo kukola decisions ezimu kubanga minisita bw'ojja n'ogaa ati kale tetwamanya bulungi twali twetaaga ndowooza okuddamu okwekenneenya naye ng'ate mwasayininga ekiwandiiko kino nga n'ebinaavaamu biraga nti bwe munaaba mulemereddwa okusasula ssente kino bwe kinebo kijja kubaawo oba ne ze mutaddeyo akawunti eyo gye mugamba kwe muziteeka si mmwe mugiinako obuyinza wabula eyabawola yagiinako obuyinza so bino biragira ddala nti abantu abali mu ministries zino oba oliawo abamu baliyo nga bifaananyi tunga tuga nti gundi wali mu ministry yavunaanyizibwa ku ministry gundi bono ye minister gundi ne gundi naye nga mu byaddala bwe kituuka ku kuba nti minister ono amanye ekigenda mu maaso oba amanye ekirina okukolebwa nga takimanyi.
Olowooza tweta, do you think we might need in the near future, I don't know, that would be increasing administrative costs, but don't you think we might need some kind of an accountability kind of ministry to make sure that it goes after almost every ministry to know that this and this is happening, this is the procedure, this is what has gone wrong. So bodi yawo abantu bajja kumanya nti nja kukola gundi, there is someone who is at my back. But we still have the IGG.
IGG akola kibi naye ate IGG nokola kwe yetaaga okubanga asobola okuyimirira busimbalala naga no ensonga eno bweti ne bweti yaliwo era kino kye kyetaaga okubanga kikolebwa naye bw'abanga emirimu gye bw'abanga agikola nga ate giyingiramu abakulu that means office ye egenda kubeerayo bubeezi ng'ekifaananyi nga naye alimu nga kifaananyi nga tekyakola yes because obanga yakola survey ku buli bw'enguzi n'alaga nti ssente bwezi ne bwezi zezifa oba zezoonoonebwa oba zezibulankanyizibwa oba zetufiirwa ng'eggwanga bwe kituuka ku buli bw'enguzi omukulembeze w'eggwanga n'avaayo naga nti abantu abo bagende kumpola ekirungi ze batwala bazinvestinga wano mu ggwanga zisigalawo that means ebintu ng'ebyo bigenda sigala nga bigenda mu maaso nti akakiiko ne bwe kanaaba weekali nga kakola okunoonyereza kwako ne kagamba nti ssente bwezi ne bwezi tizaali zirina okukola kino zaalagawa naye ng'ate abantu abakulu bavayo ne baga no abantu abo mubaleke temubakwatako mubagende kale mpola bannayuganda ngaffe bayinza okuba ne ze batwala bazinvestinga wano mu ggwanga olowooza ebikolwa ng'ebyo bisobola okukoma tebisobola kukoma
lifestyle audit baali suggesting a lifestyle audit to make sure that if someone has whatever their net worth is as far as finances are concerned, personal finances, they fall in the category of the amount someone receives as a civil servant. Ebyolowooza bijja kuba bituyamba tolowooza nti maybe bwe tugamba nti katugeze Katumba wamala nga bali Minister of Works and Transport tugamba nti Katumba for example gets
azitowa sente no nga tanayingira mu ministry azitowa sente wezi bwayingidde mu ministry
buli mwezi afuna bukadde nga 3 tugeze so bwe tusanga nti kati mukulu Katumba wamala ayina sente tugeze his incomes bank statements ziraga nti at least ne bwaba ina other businesses eziyingiza bwaba bazivetinze for example tezivaamu nga 200 million a month ate batugenda okusanga nga afuna 250 million a month oba oli awo tolowooza nti kiyinza okuba nga kituyambako tugende after individuals kuba kati institutions ozireka azitulemi every time someone goes after the institution the big wigs are always at the end of the issues that are
of course bajja funawo era ebirumira bagambe nedda gwe bwayingira ministry wali ozitowa bwoti sawa zino badde mu ministry oyina kino oba ozitowa bwoti ne bwoti okiwulidde bagambe nti abino wabifuna oti olyala nali nkola nali nsavinga nali nsavinga esobola okufuna bino byonna
nene bw'obeera osavinga ekintu ekitalimba kiri bwe kiti mpozi bw'abeeranga azisimagulinga sente kubanga wabeerangawo bank statements ziraga nti ofuna sente bweziti
ayinza bintu bino bikyuka olyagulawo accounts mu mannya ag'enjawulo naye ng'ate sente zonna zisigala zize zigenda zivaayo nga zize
anti kati bwekibanga no if they make it a point there are investigations it means someone Baba can kufetinga almost your relatives because it is possible that you're going to put it in someone who anyone connected to you, your friends, driver, someone those people are going to all be vetted to make sure that they don't have some fictitious bank accounts that jotamanye utango muntu yaelewaka haina 500 million ku bank account
weewunya zifuna atya zituukayo zitya
so boli abo bwetubanga bwebagenda after every individual it will be possible that some of those monies will be recovered because the amount of money we lose to misappropriation is too much kati bwebanga ino company yaze nalabye waliwo mwami agambye
sente zibulankanye wano sente zibadde zirina okukola kino zibuze zibadde zirina okukola kiri zibuze. So you really wonder what exactly is
waliwo mwami agambye newunya lwaki Minisita Katumba Wamala yaganye ababaka okwogera ku biki ebiri mu ndagaano eno kiki kye baakweka akawungeezi k'eggulo ng'alabiseeko mu kakiiko ka paalamenti ak'obutebenkevu n'asaba nti ababaka obutabuulira bannansi ebyama ebiri mu contract ya kampani ya Russia eya trackers kati ndowooza olaba. The people, first of all, these are civil servants. They're supposed to be accounting to us. They're supposed to be talking to us, telling us, look, we have such and such a project. Yeah. It is intended to achieve such and such objectives, but this is how far we have come. Kati omusajja Minister Mulamba, okugamba abantu nti obubaka buno temubutuusa mu bantu.
Obooleo bakyalina bye beekenneenya bye
kati ate nga ye muwezi yatugambye bagenda ku kicking off izo tracking devices okuzinstalling kati bagenda ku installing abatanga bakyama
ani ateesa ki oba ani ayogera sibitegera kati
naye one is a minister of security another is a minister of works and transport
kituufu
both of which are also obviously responsible
kibakwatako nsonga bakwatako ya kati
ono naye bamubuuza luli ye yatandika otuwa contract nga teyina mulamwa teyina foundation ono ali kugamba ate kati abantu temubagamba biki ebiri mu contract gye towawo oli
ebirimu birabika byetaaga okwekenneenya ennyo oba okwetegereza ennyo oba si kyo nga tuyinza osasulira ebikyamu ebinaaba bigenze
ate ebikyamu ebibeera bigenze mu maaso kiri nti kitegeeza one of them is a perpetrator. It means someone is actually owning is behind that curtain and using the money.
Waliwo afunamu.
Taking the bid themselves.
Wayinza okuba waliwo afunamu naye nga tayagala nnyo mu exposing enti ono yaleka yafuna mu kintu kino. Ate katuna.
Naye ababaka baba tebakola nsonga. Because I don't understand why you would keep quiet for something that is actually benefiting the people or is affecting the people. At the end of the day, the national coffers are only there as reservations for probably emergencies or to make sure that service delivery is timely and quality.
Waliwo ensonga ez'enkizo ze tubadde nga tubasuubira okwogerako ne batazoogerako.
Kati bo bakola ki exactly?
Abaki?
Now who do we trust? Who do we
ababaka batula mu parliament ne bateesa naye ensonga eziruma abantu ezimu tezoogerwako.
Kati tukoze tutya olowooza tuyinza kukola tutya kubanga kati at the end of the day first we pay those people. Second, in the process, if service deliveries are not actually happening, some people are going to actually lose their lives, others are losing their livelihoods. You know, there are some institutions that are not going to work because a particular individual is not doing their work. So tugenda kola kitoko
Bannayuganda oza balina obuyinza obwo obutandika questioning abantu bano nti temukoze kino bwekiti ne bwekiti.
Bannayuganda si ba boss b'abantu abo.
Bwe tukiriza mu nsonga eyaddala oba bwe tudda ku ground kale bannayuganda okakasanga be baboosi baabwe ligali mu mpapula kiyinza okubawa ekiri nti be baboosi naye mu bikolwa si be baboosi bano ate baba wansi nnyo bali be basigala abaki be basigala bakulu jo watugambye bannansi ffe gavumenti
nze bwe ndowooza lwa nsonga ki kino kye ndowooleza. Which is sometimes I go to the idea ono mukulu Besigye gye yali affronting nti if you wake up one day and say as the people you do some kind of civil disobedience because civil disobedience si nti ogenda kuba abantu mayinja togenda kwekalakasa byaku kutta abantu you're just going to wake up one day say I am not doing this and this and that not that you are forcing me to do it. It is my right to do it or not to. So batukeera
Uganda bamanyi rights zaabwe
bandi zitegedde because you see here
because n'amateeka agaliwo oba oli awo agamu Bannayuganda tebagamanyi emu ku nsonga lwaki abamu tebagamanyi olulimi lwe galimu tebalumanyi
tekibakakatako kugamanyi
gavumenti guno mulimu gwayo
abantu
abakulembeze mulimu gwabwe
government yiyaganye
mulimu gwabwe okubanga bamanyisa abantu because ne ssemateeka yali erina okuzzibwa mu nnimi ez'enjawulo omuntu amanye ssemateeka egamba ki naye wawuliranga abantu nga gamba article 102 of the constitution naye nga bw'omubuuza ekigirimu tamanyi kirimu naye yawulira ennyingo 12 bba tebagikwatako tamanyi kikyo ekituufu kye batakwatako oba oliawo tamanyi na bw'ova kutogikwatako awo biki ebirala ebigenderako so bannayuganda bangi nnyo abatamanyi mateeka gano oli tamanyi naki kigenda mu maaso just awulya buwulizi nti kino kikedde ne kibaawo n'ata questioninga kibaddewo kitya ffe ng'eggwanga tufunamu tutya oba kitukosa kitya owulidde nti ne kibaawo ne kimala otukosa ng'eggwanga and everything
becomes norm. We move forward. But
ate bani abagenda question.
But abantu babana boto besulide oganagamba. Kubanga now here is a problem. One, we are saying the government is not going to work for us.
Anti kati Rogers abantu nebo bali badde baagala nnyo oba nebo bali badde baagala nnyo okubaako ebintu ebimu bibogera babibakyusa. Abantu abamu batyokwogera nti ayogera gwe banona. Olaga waayo okusinga okuntwala n'endeka abaana bange kansirike. N'abamu balabye ddala nga talina buyinza nga ne bwe yali badde ayagala okwogera obuyinza obwogera tabuyina. Oli asobola okugenda mu media n'ayogera ekintu kyonna ne kikyuka. Ono ne bw'anaavaayo oli asobola okubika ekyono because oli alaba nga of course ne media nayinza okugamba no oli w'amaanyi oli ye minister yayinza okwogera ekikola eky'enkomeredde.
Kati anti kiki ensonga weeri waawano nti omuntu omu ajakeera ku makyagambe nti nze ng'omuntu ngenda ku media house njogere kino nakiri ogenda kyogera
nga media house yakuwadde space unlike alternative digital
nebwe kuwa tewagenda kiwa matu your role only thing you can do is only to rally your fellows to make sure that bwembeera nva mu kyalo gundi ne gundi bantu bannakyala babeerawo
anti Rogers tolabyeko abamu abavaayo ne boogera ku nsonga bwezito ne baba compromising
anti now that is what I am saying that the people themselves they are not willing.
Because even n'ababaka betute abagenda mu parliament.
Kino ekizibu liriani. Bw'okeera ku machano olabanga for example omuntu yamisappropriating ze sente ezina okuzimba eddwaliro particular hospital. Nomanya nti omuntu oyo actually ate that money. Now if that someone ate money bw'ogezako asking for accountability ate ye n'akugamba nti ne bakucompromisinga kitegeeza n'okireka gwe n'okivaako kitegeeza nti the next time in future it is your family that is going to suffer the consequences. Bw'aba yalidde sente z'eddagala gwewayovuddeyo okwogera n'akuwa kintu kidogo n'osirika it is your daughter, it is your brother, it is your mother who is going to suffer the consequences of that misappropriation. So nze ndowooza nti it is an issue of the people that if you wake up it shouldn't be about you or baba ampadde obukadde 10 ye nfuniramu wachi.
Anti abantu bana bagamba obwesigwa tabuteeka mu babaka ba parliament. Bagende boogere ku nsonga zino bagende batuteeseze. So mubaka bw'atuuka eri naye bakanamalako emyaka 5 nga mbutuufu talinaako kye yali ayogedde. Kale wadde okugaa nti ayisekende the motion nga nakyo takikolangako just yajja n'atuula byensonga ne bazoogerako ne ziggwa n'afuna allowance ke n'atambula n'agenda. Nga actually nga ne mu kitundu kyennyini eky'abantu bakiikirira tamanyi kifaayo. Like for example ayinza okuba asula muno mu Kampala ng'abantu bakiikirira bali Shema. Eshema yagendayo lunaku olwo mu wiiki ate bwatuukayo ababbize nnyo. Tebatera nnyo omubaka waffe atuuse ayinza n'okuba agenze ng'agenze ku mukolo kati ku mukolo gy'agenza n'atandika ddi okumanya ebizibu ebiruma abantu abali mu Shemba okiraba nti n'ababaka bano oba oliawo nabo batufeeyirinzeemu batufeeyirinzeemu betubasuubiramu oba betwasuubira okutukolera nga batuusa eri because bwe bajja bakusuubiza ensi n'eggulu tugenda kyusa kino tugenda kukola kiri naye ku floor ya parliament tulaba abantu bebamu every time be bajja ku floor ya parliament be boogera ku nsonga eno be boogera ku nsonga eri bantu bebamu abali mu parliament ey'ekumi ne mu parliament ey'ekumi ne mbitula ku floor ya parliament so nabano abayingirayo abapya bamusimanyi nakumanya banaavaayo nga balina kye boogedde bwe n'okwesa nga tebamu temanya kye bagenda kukolayo.
I have an issue. One, my whole issue is usually on the side of the people. Okay, we don't have so much power, but collectively we have more power than the decision makers. Collectively.
Do the people know that by no buyinza obwo?
Bachimanyi if they come together, because no one is going to come and tell them. That is the only problem. tewali MP first of all you atayogera ku parliament. So do you expect the MP to come to the ground and tell you, look, as the people you have so and so powers because mugenda kumu impeaching. Mwenda kuja vote of no confidence.
Akashiko kebyo kulonda kaino okudda ku ground kakole civic education.
Techina kuba ku kachiko ka
abantu bano bamanye ntoke omubaka kino kyalina okukola tumusuubira mu kino na kino olondo osinzidde ku bisaanyizo gundi ne gundi ne gundi si kulonda nti okay muno mwana waffe wa ku kyalo okiwulidde mwine waliwo ebintu byolina okutunuulira nga tonalonda ki tonalonda mubaka naye kati abannayuganda ye kasitala mango omubaka azze n'agula sukaali azze n'aziika kale kufiirwa yagula entamu yafumba obuugi ekyo kyatunuulira kyokka nti batutunuulira nnyo ekiriwo nga tetutunudde ebiseera bya maaso oba oliawo lwakuba nti abantu abamu tebamanyi.
Electoral Commission eri ku national level. Naye ku districts tuina village level, tuina leaders, tuina parish, tuina sub-county, tuina district. Now the local government, ebera ku district, is one that actually gets to the people. Kati, the part of making sure that service delivery is there and that people are equally participatory in the whole processes and they're actually benefiting is also an issue that those people need to do. It doesn't necessarily have to be also the Electoral Commission alone. So checho chengamba nti kubanga ne local government kitegeza when people abatakoze local government na yefiru. So local government go to the ground, tell the people that look, this and this and this is your mandate. Collectively you can ask for that. If that does not happen, we can have a vote of no confidence kumukulembeza atuina. So that way it becomes possible for people to have some powers, at least some semblance of that, so that service delivery batawala bulungi abantu basobola okujjayo omuntu.
Weewaawo. Tugenda kuba tuwumulamu katono nnyo, tugenda kuba tukomawo n'omugenyi waffe omwami Bosco Tumuramye, ate twogere ku nsonga ez'enjawulo university politics n'ebigenda maaso mu ggwanga erya Uganda. Ndi ne mwami Rogers Tulyahabwe, nze omumbejja luwedde Lilian kasooke tuwumulemu katono nnyo tukoma mu ssaawa yaffe ey'okubiri temuvaawo.
Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Nze omumbejja luwedde Lilian mbaniriza maka gaffe amajja era nga wano tugenda okuba nga tukolera programu yaffe emanyiddwa nga The Voltage gaba masanyalaze gennyini era nga twogera ku bintu eby'enjawulo omwo mwe muli ebigenda mu maaso mu ggwanga ensonga z'ebyobufuzi n'obukulembeze bw'eggwanga Uganda twogera ku nsonga ez'abavubuka eddembe ly'obuntu awamu n'ebyenkulaakulana togisubwa buli lunaku olwokutaano eba ssaawa emu ey'akawungeezi paka ssaawa 3 ez'ekiro.
The Diaspora Link buli lwakuna sawa 11 paka sawa emu ey'olweggulo ye program gye tukuleetedde wano ku Alternative Digitalk Uganda. Tugenda batutunulira embeera z'Abannayuganda baganda baffe bannyinaffe zibawangaaliramu mu mawanga ag'ebunaayira. Bangi banyigirizibwa, bangi bakosebwa, bangi bayisiddwamu amaaso. Naye tugenda batutunulira engeri gye tusobola okulongosaamu embeera zaabwe. Tugenda kuba tulaba abo abakwatibwako abateekeddwa okuba nga balongoosa embeera zineeno. Tosubwa buli lwakuna n'omuweerezaawo Nixon Segawa.
Hello everyone, my name is Abdalatif and I welcome you to the Hotline Show here at the Alternative Digitalk as we discuss issues of national importance. Join us every Monday 7 to 9 p.m. and see who will be occupying these seats here with us. Keep it Digitalk, real issues, real talk.
Buli muntu azalibwa n'eddembe lye ery'obwebange. Obadde okimanyi nti kikakatako okuuma eddembe lino. Eddembe lino likuggyibwako litya era ddi? Munnaffe toyitira. Bino n'ebirala birindirire mu programu yaffe Teeka Ki. N'abaweereza abo Nalukwago Emerin Katumba wamu ne Tumusiime Kato. Buli lwakubiri ku ssaawa 5 ez'okumakya wano ku Alternative Digitalk.
This weekend.
Omusajja bamuyitanga Buruchaga oba yafa nuza yafa twamuwona yali anzisi. Nakuba nga guwedde nakuba jamani golubechwa. Bana bali mu rumu tebalinda. ne bankwata bankanyuga ebweru from my room nga ndi ku mwaliro gwa kusatu mu CCE room number 99.
This weekend. The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Sawa ziweze bbiri zennyini gini tekunabanga kuyitako yadde eddakiika n'emu the mighty drive ye program gy'oli mu kulaba nze omumbejja luwedde Lydian mu studios ndi muno omwami Rogers tuli ahabwe bwe tugenda okubanga ate tukola show y'olunaku luno olwaleero awamu n'omugenyi waffe amaze okubanga atwegattako omwami Tumuramye Bosco ono nno ate nga ye chairman wa NRM chapter ku KIU Kampala International University tugenda kuba nga twogera ensonga ez'enjawulo university politics noba oli awo ne bigenda mu maaso mu ggwanga kadde bwe kanaba katusobozesezza tugenda kuba nga nabyo tubyogerako naye ng'ate nnyongera okubategeeza nti alina ekibuuzo kyonna ky'obuuza genda butereevu ku Facebook page yaffe mu comment section woba oteeka ekibuuzo kyo woba oteeka ensonga yo tujja kuba nga tugisoma nga programu eno tulinaba kubanga ewunzikibwa oba oli awo naawe osobola okuba nga otukubirako butereevu mu studios ku namba z'essimu zino wammanga MTN eri 0789 017145 0789 017145 oba Airtel eri 0759132310 0759132310 ate tusobole okuba nga twogerezeganya ku nsonga ez'enjawulo. Mukulu Rogers waali nnyo tugenda kuba tukola show olunaku olwaleero ndowooza kanyaniriza omugenyi asooka tulamuseko then n'oluvannyuma ate tutandikirawo program. Good morning.
Good morning. I am Tumuramye Bosco, known as Praise, and I'm a postgraduate student at Kampala International University, and I'm the chairman of KIU NRM chapter and the PRO Elite International Job Links. I'm delighted to be hosted tonight.
Okay.
Thank you for coming, Mr. Bosco. That's a serious CV for someone your age. I am also told, allegations I should say, that you also are chairman of, a youth chairman in a particular sub-county somewhere.
Yes, I sit on the council of Mitoma district as the youth chairman, Kabra sub-county, and I'm the managing director and the founding director of Cardinal Life for a Purpose Foundation. And I'm delighted to be hosted once again.
I have not seen an entrenched cadre of NRM, a youth at that. But thank you so much for making time, Mr. Praise, aka Bosco Tumuramye. It's an honor to have you today on the Mighty Drive. Now, I want to begin from, you are a youth, a chairman of an NRM chapter at KIU. And now we want to look at the issue of political parties, and especially politics in the institutions, tertiary institutions at that. How entrenched are they how are the political parties' politics entrenched in university politics?
I thank you very much. For the last 7 years, I've been in the university setup because I have a bachelor's degree in information technology with KIU still. I was in KIU since 2016. So tonight it counts 7 years of study in the university. And having been the former Minister of Culture, Regional and Entertainment for the university and the MP School of Computing for the same university. And in collaboration with other universities, political parties play a mighty role because it helps in grooming the young people into the general picture of the politics of the country. To mention, NRM basically being a mass party, party that I know most is that the young people coming on board into politics of different institutions, at the end of the day, when he's groomed when he's still in the university setting. It means that his year after campus and when he's joining the local politics and the national politics is really well versed with the party and can really make sure that there is a better delivery at the end of the day.
Most of the times when the people actually, those people, back in the day, most of the people used to be student leaders would turn out to become some serious national politicians.
Very true.
At this stage, we see most of the time someone is going to be probably a guild president of a particular university, or they are probably going to be an MP of a particular school or a faculty. But when the university is done, the whole political idea fades at that. When you go to the area, to the localities, to the villages, to the communities, those people don't actually show up. They don't do. So what became of the whole idea of someone is groomed from the university to become some successful and useful participant in the national politics?
I want to thank you very much. Following the Youth Council, the Parent National Youth Council, a comrade like the national chairman, Eyeru, has been in politics at the university.
Yes.
Another vivid example is Honorable Okot Boniface, who is actually the patron of the KIU NRM chapter and who is the the Eastern Youth Member of Parliament. Rukontu Chidega Moses, who has been a student leader and at the same time has served in the Uganda National Students Association, is now he sits on the neck of NYC. This entitles me to tell you that it is a groom up. If you're in the system, you have kept your hope. You know, some of the people come into politics because they don't know what they want. Some are pushed. They are serving some person's interest. Even at the national level, some of the members of parliaments, why they don't deliver back to their constituencies, it is because probably there is a force. Someone has no interest in politics. But because there is money, you know, Ugandans have only thought about money to be the source of leadership, which is not the case by my own setup. I might be supporting NRM very well, a very strong cadre who has been even trained from Chankwanzi for some good time. But personally, I believe in service delivery. Someone who knows the purpose as to why you have been elected to be a certain leader of a certain constituency or certain sector in the country.
So you're speaking about being a cadre, especially being a youth. I want to ask you one particular question. Do you understand the meaning of servant leadership? And is that an issue that is actually happening, especially from your political party perspective?
Well, I was, like you asked me in the beginning, for example, yesterday was election at Chambugo.
Yes, there was.
Personally, always, if you view my status, I have congratulated the guild president, who is an FDC personnel. We have colors, we have party colors, but as young people, we should be focusing on leadership, positive leadership, servant leadership, not forcing only thinking about the party colors. And at the end of the day, you know, some political parties bring someone who is knocked, who cannot even deliver. But because you are following the party, you are only saying...
You're going with the wave of the party.
You are going with the wave because it is NRM, because this person has come out. I'm not of that category.
What do you say? Now that's interesting. Because it has happened especially with your party, that most of the people, I don't say every person, it's obvious in some other parties, but it's majorly in the NRM also, that you're going to see someone is either going to occupy a position because someone has lobbied for them, not really because there's that competence to be in that office. Two, that even when they get in that office, they are not advancing the interests and the needs of the people they are representing. They are saying that I am doing only this because it's a thank you, probably it's the best I can do for someone who actually chose me to do this. So, which also now goes into the question of servant leadership. Is it really that entrenched? Apart from the idea that you understand that it's important to put the interests of the people at hand, is it something that is actually in your party that is entrenched, being a young cadre who is...
Now, in the beginning I told us that we have a problem. Even as per NRM, we have a problem. When you are thinking about the future of the country, NRM is said, oh, is a mass party. But being a mass party where only people are thinking about money, we are not grooming future leaders. We are not identifying even those people in different positions. Let it be even the NRM itself. They are looking onto tribalistic tendencies. We are not looking onto who can deliver. That's a problem we have in the party, by the way. I guess when you thought about hosting me, you thought I would come in party colors.
It was, I like it, but I wasn't.
We're even surprised that you were.
It's a surprise, but now what I'm looking onto as a future national politician. By the way, there is politicking and leadership.
And political slogan.
Yes, I'm looking onto how best as the country. You know, the Museveni of today, the Paulo Kagame of today, they had ideology. But apparently, even if you go to the floor parliament right now, there is bandwagon effect. I don't know that you understand my statement. Some of them, they are going into parliament just because there is money at the end of the day. Some of us, you go and campaign for such a kind of member of parliament. Even after campaigning, you have done all the groundwork, he will never think about you. He's only thinking about his constituents as his own home. Some of them are thinking about, if they are men, they are thinking about young, beautiful ladies. They are not thinking about delivering to back the nation and back the constituencies. So personally, as a young leader who is optimistic enough to be one of the next future leaders of the country, I have not only think about the party, but thinking about someone who can deliver. I want to give you a vivid example in the floor of parliament. Honorable Mujuche from Buhweju is an FDC personnel, but he's someone who can deliver. I love that man. I love him. I love that honorable member of parliament. He's someone who goes to the floor of parliament and is talking sense. But you might have a party cadre who goes onto NRM ticket and he's gambling. So the future of our country lies onto the young generation, but the young generation who are prepared.
And now I am going to ask you in the perspective of your party. You are saying that there's an NRM cadre who's going to go on the floor of parliament and gamble, which is a fact. We have seen those. Now it also questions the NRM as a party. Do you give out party flag bearers? Do you consider their competence? Or is it an issue of who is a son of who, or who has someone endorsed? Do you really look into the competence, the substance within the person you're fronting as a flag bearer to the floor of parliament?
When we go to university setting minus the national politics, I thank KIU's chapter because it is more organized, even if you ask anywhere. It is one of the best chapters around the universities in the country. Because KIU has electoral college system of governance. To become a guild president, you must have had different MPs vote you. But now, our chapter does a mass party, a mass election. And other universities, it is an endorsement from the chairman or executive
of the university.
That's why when you look onto Makerere, they cannot win an election. NRM cannot win an election. When you go to Chambogo, you have seen they can't win an election. Probably moves just of recent have tried, and our candidate was the second. But in endorsement, you know, when you're endorsing, you have your personal interest as a chairman. You have a reason as to why you are saying so and so you go and be the flag bearer. Yes. But when it is a mass election, then it means that you have captured the ground. For example, we have just finished the flag bearer elections at our university. And we really know that the person that has gone through the flag bearer must win an election. It is an obvious. We have had the 9 consecutive guild presidents, NRM at KIU.
There has been contestations here and there.
Then now,
there's been some questions. I am just a bit. I am an OB, I should say, of KIU. And so I have seen some contestations in regards to the elections. Some are guild presidents. Sometimes that even the army has had to come into play. So the idea of having the NRM consecutively win the seat of the guild presidency and student leadership has had questions here and there, but I'll have really answer
Mr. Bosco, how do we shape university politics so that they serve a good purpose?
I thank you very much. And when I think about university politics and how best we have to shape up the young people, like I was telling you, the likes of the His Excellency YKM7, the likes of Paulo Kagame, they had ideological talks before even they would think about politics. It is at this time that even grooming who should be the next leader, it is a problem for us in the country. Because now it is at this time that would have different kind of setups with different ideological groups. We groom them and we prepare them for the next service in the country. But that thing is lacking, even per the NRM. I've just seen the Secretary General, the parent Secretary General has tried to organize ideological clinics, which are always on Thursdays like today. But I would quickly advise not only the political parties, but those who think about their own country to have ideological kind of setups in different institutions of learning to prepare young people yet to have the best leadership in the country. Yes.
In Uganda, the percentage of youths is very, very high. Well, I would say it's very big. But we the youths are labeled to be noise makers. And even after university, when we go to national politics, we are not doing what is entitled to be done. We're just noise makers. So how do we change this? How do we also shape the youths out there who have not been part of the university politics to be to serve?
Now the problem that we have as young generation is that we forget who we are, where we are, and where we intend to be. That's a major problem that all of us, the countrymen and women who have positive mindsets should focus on. It is at a whim that someone goes to the university, but even after the university is nothing. There is not that every other person that has gone to the university is wise.
That's true.
Okay.
People go even have masters, but they are stupid in a kind of way that I cannot explain.
Stupid is an overstatement, but let's go ahead.
It's an overstatement, but what I mean, it is not that every other person that has gone to class is wise and positive. It is even a problem that even some of us who come from humble background are the ones that make much of noise rather than settling up and knowing you have a focus and you have a vision to achieve. Personally, I'm a son of a peasant, but I think I have my thinking ahead. So to the young people, they need to be inspired. But before they're inspired, inspiration, it comes at a point when someone is prepared for it. If you're not prepared for inspiration, you'll never be inspired. For example, if I wasn't inspired to be here, I couldn't be here. Or if one of you had not seen vision in me, you couldn't call me for the short night. So what we need as young people is to focus on things that matter. And we erase things that not matter. That's when we shall have a better country.
Now here is a question, Mr. Bosco. We are saying we need inspiration. Now, I wonder where we are getting the inspiration, because even the current leaders that we do have are usually doing the opposite of what should actually inspire us. Now, my question is, as being the majority stakeholders, which is in sync with what Lillian was asking, we are the majority stakeholders. At what point do we realize that, look, we are the stakeholders, majority at that, and the future is in our hands? Yeah. At what point do we realize that we need to go out and stop just being noise makers and actually try to find for ways to shape the governance and the politics of a country? And not just that, every other aspect of the community. At what point do we do that?
Being the young people being at the highest percentage in the country, it is at this time, you're asking me at which percentage?
At what point do we realize we actually need to get out ourselves? Because the enablers seem to be failing us.
That's very true.
You like to quote Museveni and Kagame, I have realized.
Yes.
And I want to assume that those are some people you have looked up to.
Yes,
growing up, and now explains why you are serious kind of NRM.
Yes.
But you would also realize that in the government of your president himself, Mr. Museveni, our president, I should say, he has also failed basically to enable the growth of young people as such. So how are we going to make sure that as young people, we prepare ourselves to get at that space? That we have to actually influence issues. That
I thank you very much. When Museveni was still young, and realized that the kind of governance that was taking place by that time was not shooting there, was not shooting his mindset to where he thought. That's why when he sat back, identified a kind of grouping, and they modified onto what they wanted to be and where they wanted to be. So it is at our time that now we have seen what has taken place, and we know what we want. We identify few young people, young generation that have love for their country, because we have even young people who don't love their own country.
It is possible because of the conditions that are actually in the country. So yes.
But now, after realizing that we have kind of young people like you who love their own country and are focused onto the future of your country, you sit and have a plan work. You know, without a plan, you cannot achieve.
That's true.
You can never achieve anything without a plan, because one of the philosophers said that proper prior planning prevents pain for poor performance. So it is at this time that when you see things are not going right, then the better brains come and brainstorm and see where the future of the country should lie. Don't be, you have seen Bob Wine come up. By the way, I like Bob Wine for one thing. Because he has prepared himself. The Bob Wine I used to know in 2005 is not the Bob Wine today. There is some a little bit of inspiration to the young people, from a ganja man now to who he is right now. That's where when we are talking about national politics. But now people think that if you are called pro-NRM, then you should not at times think about someone who is doing a positive work on the ground. For example, pro another party. But my own focus is with whom are inspiring us to get there. What man did, man can do it. I'm inspired finding you here tonight. And I would be motivated the other day to be part of the panelists around and doing what you are doing as young people. This is part of inspiration that also other young people should be inspired by you. I don't know whether you get my point.
Yes, yes.
So, the Uganda we want, the future we want is of now, and we have to prepare for it.
Except we are relenting and becoming when someone is looking for campaigns back in the villages, they're only paying us to make the noise.
And the problem is that young people are being used for stupid things. They are only recognized during time of electioneering and what have you.
Auntie, that is the only thing we can do.
Now, the problem I have, for example, personally, I'm the chairman of the part of the KIU. The problem I have with NRM is one. Not recognizing those who have the system. The focus is on, for example, full figure. After capturing full figure, because it's, they give him her 1,000 millions and she keeps quiet. Then we are not preparing. Now, for example, the structures of NRM, I would have thought positive if we could have the league elections. We have the structure of NRM. For the last how many years, we are supposed to have league, but I guess we finished, the lockdown is normal. NRM should come on ground because some died. The youth league system from the village level to the national level, some died. Some are overaged now. They are not in youth bracket, so they cannot serve youth.
Yeah, that's true.
But now when you speak about that, then there is a question.
Whether your loyalty is actually to the NRM
or know what.
I know.
Now, for example, it is at a bad image having a chapter chairman like me, for example. Then you finish university, you are under the party structures. Then you are on the street of Kampala looking for a job. Then there would be no reason as to why you should be supporting.
Now, Bosco, let me
ask you. Because why I'm telling you this is that preparation, when you are prepared, you are in the structure. For example, can your father forget about you?
No, he does not necessarily have to forget.
Now, if your father has produced you and there is a time when he cannot recognize that you are existing, but is recognizing
Bosco,
the ones of...
Bosco, here is a thing.
But it's because you don't want to fight for yourself.
Here is a thing. Here is a thing. Your father has probably paid tuition for you. He has looked after you. You have grown up and you've reached a time. At least he feels he has enabled you to be able to hustle on your own. It means now his withdrawal is not because he does not recognize that you are his son anymore. It is that
that's the question. That's the question you are asking me about. That's the question you are asking me. Pro President Museveni preparation of the young people and how they are left out and how the young people are of the highest percentage in the population of the country. There is still a room for preparing young people. If
one,
you want the
one
better
would
governance.
even look at the youth MPs we have.
Yes.
One would look at the youth MPs
now,
we have, because we have 5 MPs.
For example, the 5 MPs, the 5 MPs. You know, MPs, youth MPs have no constituency.
They don't. They basically.
In real sense, they have no constituency. That's why.
So they are just shadow MPs.
That's why. No, they are not shadow. I will say, like I may say. That's why when a youth member of parliament is voted in office, at times they don't go back into the people that voted them. I don't know whether I get my point. They vote, for example, you are from Tumuramye, for example.
Rosa, Lillian, and your good morning. Yes, I have a few things to really share with, or even wonder about your guest. Taking into charge, I think we should be used in Uganda. There is nothing that confuses me as seeing young people passionately talking and speaking for and on behalf of the NRM, fronting Mr. Museveni, Ahia Kagame, and others, praising them like a demigod. But I am sure as they follow the night, unless otherwise, that gentleman, just like so many of us, after his graduation, the best he's going to do is to get this oversized yellow t-shirt and begin moving around the NRM secretariat, either in the minister's offices. I mean, wandering and wandering around. But when he is aware that there are no jobs, and before you know it, he's just there. And that is the lucky one who can even be able to get that oversized t-shirt. But majority of them and so many others will continue failing to get even one single job. And you know what happens after 3 or so years? What he has learned at KIU will be out of his head. What he will simply have is his certificate. Degrees are fit. But mubabuuza degrees amwe muzitereka kati baba bagenda kola, but I am sure that gentleman akimanyi mutima muteri kalimu agenda kajja ekyo kyakimanyi ng'ogyeko batagenda kola kutaayaya ku secretariat ya NRM wa RDC kwebuzaabuza mu baana ba NRM bali ali mu sukulu Museveni watwagalira awo kati nga yo omuvubuka abuulira abantu amazima. NRM tekituufu erina bayira wenza butafaanana ba opposition balala. NRM erina obuntu obutonotono bwekoze. That is factual. Olira naye ate ebyo bituuse bitigudde mu malaka kati tekyalina kyetugamba, tekyalina kyeyongerako yadde ekimu bwe kiti. Ayamushwa oyo omwana bwe mugamba tunyonyere simanyanga myoga kubanga oyo omwana literally oyo omugenyi wammwe asawundinga ng'omuntu omugezi. Naye ate ikizono kubanga oli omuntu mugezi ng'abyonyonnyola, naye ate bw'ofuluma weekuba mu mutima n'ogamba gw'okinze gw'osingidde ddala. Nange mbadde njogera si tukwatagana era nze ngenda kuggyawo ku studio zammwe singa mbasobodde nalaba mulabako ng'amaze okuba ku studio nga tuli off record. Ayinza okubuulira ate ebintu ebirala nagamba n'ekyo kyabatama naye waka munnange ebintu bya kigaaki kikoze bitya bakikuba bukubi kanagweramu eyo. Kati for sure he is a young person. Njagala mbuulire KIU ayogera abaana b'amanyi nga they are beneficiaries of scheme y'aba students. If you remember waliwo ekintu kyabwe jjajjaawo ekyo kyeyalonkinga awo basimanga student loan bikoze bitya hakunyonyola abaana abali awo. nafunako omukisa okuyita KIU. I am sure bw'olaba abaana abali ku scholarship yasimanga Safe House scholarship basali balikoze bitya baana banyankuli bireeri era tokoba ng'olina akayindo ng'akarooja bw'otaba ng'akayindo katabirayo kati kateekako paid holder akayindo kagire kabeere kawanvu okufuna simanga scholarship babifuna batya era eyo kenyina zirakwanga nafuna scholarship ya gavumenti. It's out of Wagarida. I think there should be a discussion, an intentional discussion beyond this level, because Museveni is going, Muntu, all the generation is going. How best are we prepared to take this country forward?
Thank you so much. I did understand really where my Kaindo comes in, but well, we move on. But you had the gentleman. We have
there was echoing. I couldn't listen.
Okay. Generally, his issue is this: that even as you come from the NRM, you understand that where we are, Ngana Wabadogamba, that we are here. Even when we go to the university, you'll find someone on the street without anything. When they have actually been that loyal servant of the party. Do you how prepared are we ourselves to making sure that we make it? That we are not just in university to make noise for the party and that is all.
That was a very good sight out. And what I would really advise young people is that we should stick on what matters. We leave out what doesn't matter. I heard him talk about the Myuga program. That's a great initiative.
It is.
By the president and his cabinet. We have now come to the parish model setup. That's where the young people should benefit, because most importantly, it is at this time that we are going to decentralize the decentralization system of governance, whereby the young person from university should not only stick on to making noise around the streets of Kampala, but should also go back and start agriculture. If the parish model sticks onto agriculture in the given kind of sub-county or parish, let that student go and do what? And start digging and do agriculture. Let him or she join the part of the Myuga programs. There was a good initiative in the Myuga program, and some of the young people have already benefited from them.
Do you have?
It is not
can you give us names of the people who have benefited from the Myuga?
It is a national program. It is a national program, and it is not based on a political party and what have you. There we are not talking about politics.
Although there are questions.
There are no questions on that.
Let me tell you. Let me inform you.
Yes.
Good thing you are cadre of NRM and you are youth leader at that. In the NRM, in the disbursement of the monies of the Myuga program, you would understand that first they're actually given out at the offices of the NRM at those sub-counties. And most of the times, they consider the loyal cadres of the people. That is what actually happens on the ground. Because we all come from those communities, we have seen those programs at their entrenchment in the community. It is also, most of the times, the consideration is whether you are, or at least your party should be a loyal party. I mean, should be loyal. Your family should be loyal to the party. So I want to ask you the same thing. We have had several programs that have been initiated by the government, most of which obviously has been said to have some semblance of consideration for young people. How much of that worked for young people really? On the grand scale of the
now, before you come to that point, I would differ from your point of view that the Myuga program and the parish model that has been launched just of recent only favors NRM. That is a complete lie. For example, I will give a vivid example. Don't you think around Kampala people have benefited from the Myuga program?
They probably have.
Now.
Are you trying to say?
No, I just want to bring it from that. Okay. From that. On which percentage do you think NRM won an election around?
Probably less percentage.
Less percentage.
Is that you trying to say that NRM does not have people in Central? In
it has, but having. Do you want to tell me that the only people who are NRM
not only,
in
I
Central?
am not saying only.
So what I want to tell you, if it is a government initiative and a government program, it has to be a government program. There is no politicking in this, and the problem is that when there are people that do not like the party. They end up not getting involved in such programs and end up politicizing them, which is not a true thing. For example, we have different bursaries in different universities. But someone will fail not to go for those bursaries because they think they are given by the government. I don't know they get the point.
I understand, yes.
So this is the benefit. It is benefiting all, but those who are prepared. That's why I'm saying KIU students, Makerere students, Chambogo, to mention mobs and whatsoever university. It is at this time that when we have seen that there is an introduction of the parish model, we go on to ground and know what is needed. And we do it so that we benefit from that program. For example, we have youth livelihood program. We had that program ever since.
How far has it been?
The prepared group, the prepared group in given sub-counties and parishes benefited.
Bosco,
and those who are not.
But now we would like to get examples of the groups that benefited. if you can mention like 2 of them.
And I want, as you mentioned, a question, you should also tell us that because most of the times there are programs, we need reporting, right? We need you to come and say, look, we did a program such and such, the money is this much, and for that matter,
and then a certain group has this and this one has benefited.
The project was maybe, let's say, in the region of northern Uganda, and this how far the youth have benefited. How far would you say young people have actually benefited from the youth livelihood program? And would you say that even the level of the youth employment has kind of elevated because of the youth livelihood program?
Now the problem is that the young people, even when they get monies, people form groups. For example, the Myoga you are seeing who have benefited. People will go and get the money. After getting the money, they divide it into portions and they take off. And there's nothing development that someone has used that money for. You understand? So identifying such a kind of a person and you say, so and so has benefited, yet he has done nothing, then there is a big
now that comes to you as a youth.
And now
that comes to you as a
it comes to me as a youth leader. But now another thing is, who has the problem in the first case? The one who got the money and used it for other stupid things.
But now, if we look at the parish development model, they're giving 17 million to each parish. So if we have a parish that 17? Has... It's 17 million.
For now, it will be 100, I think, and is it? They said in June, when the financial year begins.
But for now, each parish is getting 17 million. So how will these people benefit from the 17 million, given the fact that some parishes have a bigger population to other parishes?
How?
Compared,
how?
How will these youths benefit from the parish development model when they're given 17 million each parish, and then we have some parishes where the population is higher than others?
Now, the the parish model, you know, when the government is bringing a program, it has identified a problem. And the problem is that Museveni himself might not be of a problem, but the people under. That is being realistic.
Yes, I agree.
You might be of no problem, but someone who is below you is causing problems for you. We have people, some of the people in public service who are doing what they are not supposed to be doing. And that's where the problem comes, that even the young people like us who have graduated from university were not even in that system, not in that system. But also identification is also, you know, getting jobs in Uganda is pro Chintu Chidogo, which is a big problem, by the way.
Yep.
So, the percentage at which the monies are given to those given parishes, the government has set up different kind of projects and programs, because every sub-county, I guess, will be having what it should be investing into. For example, if your parish is pro-agriculture of planting matoke, banana something, then young people should be in line with that to benefit from the money given. Now, they should not say that you go and plant Irish potato for you, come and plant trees. Then you think the government program will find you prepared.
But now that is a question.
Now,
Bosco.
I in the breakage of the parish model, though I don't want to go deep into it, the breakage of parish model, there are different percentages on who are the beneficiaries. Yet it is for all of us.
Yes, that's true.
But there are breakages of who, at which percentage are the youth going to benefit in the system?
Yeah, okay.
At which percentage are maybe the women going to benefit from the system? So what comes back to us is getting leaders, and you as an individual who is not a leader, because you know your problems than I know.
Yeah, that's true.
Our role, if you are a leader, is going and you keep people with positive mindset for what matters.
Okay.
Now the problem is that even those who are not in leadership wish that every other thing is done by a leader. I will not come and tell you how to put on a better suit. No. You have to get prepared for it. And someone gets you well. I was telling some young people yesterday in a certain meeting at the university that personally, first impression matters. If I meet a young person at the university and you have this you know, the hairstyle, or you have this damaged kind of, me, I think maybe you are a Miai.
That's not fair.
Me, I'm saying me.
Okay.
Me. I'm saying me, I'm not
you
saying...
As in Bosco.
If someone judged by that, Chagulanyi would not be inspiring a lot of young people because...
But now, why do you think the Chagulanyi you are talking about? He used to be that, but he's no longer that. He's now a gentleman.
He has been a gentleman. You have been looking at...
So why do you think he changed it from the other perspective that the people would think about him? You understand? There is the other side he was. But he has changed because...
The bad man Bobby Wine.
Yes. Now he's in another track. So, those projects, not only those projects we are talking about, the people are focusing on, the parish, the what, we have even bursaries. Bursaries in different universities. And I guess there is no, like how one of the personnel was talking, I didn't get him very well. When they are giving bursaries, they do not only consider who is NRM. I guess you are part of the beneficiaries of KU.
I was,
bursary.
yes, I was.
I guess.
I was.
And you are. And Kato, I think, is part of the beneficiaries of the...
Kato should tell us.
Kato should tell us. I guess he was part of the KIU bursary. And there has been rumor that you see, Vasaja is part of NRM. Yes.
It's not a rumor.
Okay, it's true.
Secret.
It's a public secret. Yeah. But now, did he erase some of you who support other political parties not to benefit from that bursary?
I usually support other political parties over there also NRM.
Who?
No, let's say...
I don't know.
Bosco, let's say that is also a fact. Now that goes also to KIU and its politics. I don't want to go back into that. But we want to read the comments because time is running out. But I want to ask you one last question before we read the comments.
Yes.
You do work with an external recruitment agency.
Yes.
You understand the level of youth unemployment stands at over 60% in this country. True. And you also are a youth leader in the serving government.
Yes.
What are your intentions towards making sure that this kind of brain drain stops as a youth leader who represents young people? And, you know, hello, someone on the line?
Hello.
Mr. Roger, sorry, I normally have come back and your guest, sorry. I don't want that gentleman to confuse us on two issues. I don't want this thing of name calling. That gentleman should equally tell, by the way, I am a product of KIU myself. That thing over here, Basare, we all know this is not about mouthing who KIU administration. Chimanyi kachekina mu Uganda, nti Basare yukundi jebakuwa. Bakugamba osasule, because imagine omwana omunaku owekashagama obaire ekyankwanzi roja java. Owulira bamugamba asasule 100% nga tebanamuwana na bagita batya award kimanga award later. Muntu mwavu na applying basajja balaba the first condition soko kigalinge to zero balance. nga tebanakuwa award data. Ekyokubiri sente ezo singa singa olwawo ekibanga balina ba weeks meka zitandika okuwa amagoba ogenda kibalabalamu nga initially ogenda kibalabalamu almost nga tetina basale yamu. Ekyokubiri ekibuzo kyembadde mbuuza the other time was nga njogera ku state house scholarships as confusing and abu basaries basajja balaba bwagabira baana bwa 30% off 40% ketutegeera nebitutegeera olinga omusuubuzi nga basajja balaba as businessman kasita kukwata nasoka kuwambako miliyoni emu babiri okay first deposit of 100% ya sente zenga tandika okukola amagoba bwolwawo okusasula ng'era akola ki biringi abinyonyoli bannayuganda alime kutufuula mbunno abantu abakwati babimanyi mukati basajja balaba waliwo basaries KIU yes fine mu bigambo gyeri naye tenga okubanga naawe kennyini oli mukalabakalaba nga bwana bwamusota okumalako ne basale because Roger you know I am also a product of KIU oyo omwana agenda kuboololera amanya musanga Roger is a product musanga is a beneficiary my dear a beneficiary but a painful beneficiary not just a musanga beneficiary Roger, Kato, and all the products of KIU, they are painful beneficiaries. You say there's no business. Wow, whatever Gavana KIU, Gavana became seeing attention. Zikola Magwaga Mtoro Simayango Vanda. You know, Nika to say the Bagani, Basari Yamukumana Munaku. So I watched the Regula Magoba. Yeah, but I don't know award later. What's not Gamos, also the cash, so it's not go. Anyhow, that's an administrative question. Now, to say, I was talking about the state house scholarships. Eza state house scholarship says bazifuna batya bannange omuntu akola atya asike kunywa amata akola atya.
Thank you sir. Is that true? Is that true? Is that true that at KIU if you want to get a bursary you must have paid full amount?
If it's the product of KIU like he's saying and he paid full tuition then that was his personal mistake. To how far I know KIU bursary, because I have gotten a chance to work under marketing. It is a half bursary, and that half bursary, the only thing you have to do is to have a recommendation from your chairman, you receive 5.
Yes.
And after having a recommendation from your chairman, you receive 5. Then you should pay the half of the money. Why you pay half of the money? It show that even when you are given that half bursary, you will have the capacity to pay that half in the near future. You are a beneficiary, you know how it works. But now there is that kind of confusion. You pay half of the tuition, then the processing of your award letter on what have you, that's how it comes. But I had not come for administrative kind of
work for KIU.
No.
Now, if you are in position, he also had issues to do with state house scholarships. What are the considerations for those?
Every system has its own qualifications. I think there is a reason you have the qualifications that you tabled to invite me here. If, for example, they say to benefit from the government scholarship, you must have 19 points and you don't have, do you think then you will benefit from the government scholarship?
No.
So that's a direct answer that everyone outside there can really understand. If they say state house, you are supposed to be of this grade point and you have not reached, then you will not benefit from it.
Okay, we have a limited time. I think let me just go through the comments. Petina Angel Ranga says, if you at Bosco say that NRM has had 9 guild presidents in KIU and you are proud of that, tell the nation how many of the 9 have even participated in the national politics and governance if they are really competent as you allege. We know a number of such guild presidents and where they are.
I thank you very much. One of them is the recent one. His Excellency Aroho Moses.
He's not His Excellency anymore.
He's
no longer.
That is the former, I say, His
former,
Excellency.
Okay.
He was the guild president of KIU. He became the UNSA president. That is the UNSA speaker, the Uganda National Students Association speaker. And he has competed favorably to be the NYC
chairman, which he failed.
He's chairman, which he failed. That means that there is he continued the process. I have been serving in 2018-2019, I was the member of Parliament School of Computing and Information Technology. I was the minister in charge of culture, region and entertainment. And here I am tonight. So which viewed example do they want?
Okay. Young man Kato says, an NRM cadre Bosco, when you talk about preparing the youth for future leadership, what have you as the leader in a university chapter prepared the students to be important and development to the nation and not to be used by other politicians?
I thank you very much. That has been a daily say, a daily kind of organization. I was telling you before I was sent even the link yesterday that I'm supposed to be here tonight. It found me in a meeting with a kind of setup of young people who have identified them in a certain grouping, the so-called Chigezi Students Association. And I had to come to tell them what matter. What matter, it is not going on streets of Kampala and say, we and making noise, but identifying yourself as an individual and know what you want, know where you come from, and you have your future posited.
Okay. Kovsinje Hula Clarissa says, but at Bosco, if you are to come to face the reality about the groups that are beneficiaries of the government programs like Emyoga, youth livelihood programs, among others, if it's clear that even the leaders in the NRM are the sole beneficiaries, when you
talk about the bursary at KIU and you have to pay 60,000 per week as surcharge, which bank even can charge such as interest on a loan? It's not even a bursary.
Now that one has a problem. In such a way, when you talk about KIU's bursary, and you say you pay surcharge, which university does not pay surcharge? And we have to compare the two. We have what we call government and private sector. A government sector is benefiting directly from government. Private sector is directly from the pockets of an individual. So if it so happens, I'm not saying that there must be surcharging institutions, but if at all it is your own enterprise and probably someone has not met your standards that you wish to have, how do you feel? It is a 60%, it is a 50% bursary, yes.
Others are 40%. Not 50%.
Some are 40%, for example. Some are maybe 100%. I don't know.
I doubt that.
But I guess that is a complete not per her statement or his statement.
Teresa Blessy, talking about nagging leaders, especially in the NRM, the truth should be said that even at the university setup, the NRM has brought incompetent guild presidents. One can even shy about to say they were at one time guild president.
That's a problem. I told you that stakeholders of NRM and the people in charge of institutions should look into organizing chapters in given universities. For example, when we are talking about kind of leadership, that's why I was telling you we cannot win Makerere, we cannot win Chambogo. It is still a doubtable kind of. And the problem in NRM is only going to impose where there is much of opposition, but not even identifying the organized group so that they stick on it and make sure they have better results. So it is at this time that all chapters across universities, a mass election cannot be like a college vote. For example, Makerere has how many students?
There are many, I don't know.
There are very many. And for example, executive of NRM is 90 students pro the other many students. So when we have the voting of only executive to the flag bearer, then it becomes a problem. That person cannot win an election. And when it is not a mass election, because if I come out and I say maybe, for example, Kato is my flag bearer, it means I have an interest in him. I as an individual. It is not a mass election where people have entrusted a flag bearer to go and compete favorably for an election.
Okay. Teresa Blessy said, 9 guild presidents at KIU from NRM, you say, but what would you expect in an institution that allows only one political party, the NRM, and sideline all the others?
I thank you very much. It has been a question, but I want to answer it on air tonight. Only those who are prepared shall see God.
Okay.
The prepared people shall.
Please define preparation. Define preparation for
Only the organized people shall meet the succession.
Okay.
So, what I mean, now, if you talk about that KIU only allows maybe NRM, it is an association, it is whatsoever, but they are prepared. That kind of grouping.
The NRM ones are the only ones who are prepared.
That kind of grouping is prepared.
You see, Bosco, here is the reality. It's not happening only in KIU.
Yes.
It is the same thing that the president has said time and again, that only NRM is winning because it's prepared. But we also understand the practices that happen during and around the times of elections and the campaigns. That's what I was saying earlier, that as far as the succession of the NRM presidency in the guild office is concerned, there are questions, because there have been questions. So the question of preparation, again, also comes with some resources, one that are engineered by this university administration itself, another, obviously, because the resources at the disposal of that.
On that point, there has not been any time, it is not because I'm a more product of KIU, but there has never been any point where administration jeers a candidate to win an election.
Is it not?
It is not, because I've been there and I know.
I have come from KIU.
You have come from KIU, but you have not been directed in systems of the leadership.
Why? It's because you're NRM.
Not because I'm NRM. No, that's why I'm NRM, but I was telling you challenges in NRM.
Time is fast spent. I had one particular question I was interested in. You work with an external recruitment agency.
Yes.
And brain drain is on a raise. What would you do? What are you doing as youth leaders to make sure that a problem of unemployment is a little bit at least addressed to a particular extent?
That's what one of the first things I commented about per NRM. For example, when we have cross-country chapters in universities, their role is identification of the future leaders and the cadres of the party.
That's what one of the first things I commented by NRM.
Hello?
For example, when we have cross-country chapters.
Hello?
Their role.
Hello.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
This is Jacob Guild, President KIU.
Yes, sir.
I want to clarify on the issue of the administration financing candidates. That's not true. I have been in an election and I've participated in many and engaged myself. The administration does not.
But now that was not even a clarification.
Now, that shows he's the guild president. He's the guild president. And he's giving you the clarity.
He's an NRM guild president, if you must know. Now, what would you expect?
Being NRM guild president is not NRM guild president, but he's a university guild president.
Of NRM.
And not now of NRM. He's a guild president of
he's an NRM cadre.
Now, let me tell you something. When we go into politics, when you go time of elections, you can be a flag bearer, but when you win an election, whether you are NUP or what, you are at service of entire community.
The student body, that's right.
So the Sujui is a NUP. No, now you are serving every person, whether NUP, whether what.
Our question, Bosco, is not about service delivery, that it is a one-side-line.
But to tell you,
it is that the leadership of the university sometimes is engineered in a certain direction.
No, what I will tell you, and per what I know, there has never been financing of administration. And by the way, they have never, like other universities where you see that the administration is part of the KIU thing to making sure that which should be the guild, KIU is no.
Okay.
The one who wins an election.
You're parting shots.
Yes, sir.
I thank you very much for the host tonight. And this is a great initiative. And I will empower each young person who is interested in such programs always to come around. I'm really inspired.
Thank you.
And another inspiration is seeing the part of Kampala International University going upon release. And at the same time, the one who invited me is part of KIU. So meaning that KIU is producing people who really matter. And at the same time, I wish to empower Kampala International University students to speak on what matter, most especially NRM chapter. We now have a flag bearer in the names of Tumuramye Moses, and without any doubt, I believe he's going to win this election.
Of course he has to win.
I call upon the, not of course he has to win, but I call upon the faculty of law to vote Tumuramye Moses as the MP, and thereafter he will win an election as the guild president, and we have a better mainstream. I thank His Excellency Jacobo for joining in and seeing the program, and I call upon you so that every other time you keep on the line of leadership.
Okay.
Then lastly, I'm soon graduating.
Yes, okay.
I'm graduating this June with my other course. And what does it call? It calls for more of motivation of young people. Who should be the next chapter chairman? Who should be the next speaker of the university? Who should be the next guild president of the university? Who should be who? As we are talking about preparation. Preparation starts with us. You as an individual identifying a character with whom can be in your shoes when you are not there. That's what matters. Then it means that if also that person does the same, the system will be okay, and succession will be okay. But I'm really delighted to be hosted.
Thank you so much. I would love to host those. How many contestants are for guild presidency there? Okay. I would love to host some of them too.
There are many and they will come in.
Okay. I will try to be in touch.
Once again, Tumuramye Bosco, and I'm chairman KIU NRM chapter and the youth chairman Kabra sub-county Mitoma district, and the PLO or Elite International Consultant Job Links. I will request those who wish to go work abroad to come and join us. And we have, for example, right now.
Usually we pay for those adverts.
Okay, you pay, but you have hosted me. Okay. we have the World Cup coming in. Please come and register with us to be one of the bus captains in Qatar, and we shall be happy having you at our offices in Magerey, Gaza Road.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bosco. It has been the mighty drive. Thank you so much to our viewers. Betutandise nabo okuva ku ssaawa emu ey'okumakya paka ate wano tugenda okuba nga tuwunzikira omwami Tumuramye Bosco mumuwulidde bulungi nnyo. Mbadde n'omwami Rogers tuli habwe bwe tukoze program olunaku olwaleero, era nga njagala kubebaza. Mwebale nnyo, mwebale ddala abakomenti nze abakubya amasimu tweyanziza nnyo. Tweyanzege ku ssaawa 11 ez'akawungeezi temusiba program The Diaspora Link. Omwami Nixon Praise Sega wagenda kubaawo wano nga atubuulira ensonga ez'enjawulo ku human trafficking n'ebirala bingi nnyo ebigenda okuba nga byogerwako. Temugisibwa ku ssaawa 11 zennyini ez'akawungeezi, ate nga ku ssaawa 2:30 ez'akawungeezi k'olunaku luno olwaleero omukyala Teddy Tenjo agenda kuba atuwa fancy flow. Ino nno sho twogera ku fashion, bintu ebyenjawulo ebiwetaaga okuba ng'omanya body shaping n'ebirala bingi nnyo. Weetaaga kwambala kiwadi byonna agenda kuba nga ate bitubulira. Weetaaga kwambala makeup kingo ogenda ku mukolo byonna ajja kuba nga ate abitubulira. Njagala okwebaza ttiimu gyakoze nayo olunaku luno olwaleero. Omwami Jeje Jacob yabadde ku camera, ate nga mu control room waliyo omukyala Teddy Tenjo Nabukeera, waliyo omwami Kato tumusiime n'omwami Mokose Arnold Anthony okulaba nga program ate ebeera kimmwe kyemulaba ku mpewo. Kambagaliza okubeera bulungi, tusinkane olunaku olw'enkya ku Voltage. Mweraba.
Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.